It's Monday, February 3rd, 2025, and we're reconvening our meeting from just an hour ago. We've already had our pledge and our moment of silence. So at this time, we will go right into public hearing number 1 on the 2025-26 school calendar.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bryan. As you may or may not know, we're required by law to have 2 public hearings this time of the year in designing next year's school calendar. We put a survey out a couple weeks ago. It was out for 1 week. We had around 80 or so. Are we on?
Yes.
Okay. Around 80 comments, which is down from usual. We usually have around 200. But I think people's kind of gotten used to our school calendar and how it works and seem to be mostly satisfied with. But there is going to be a couple of changes. There's something I did not do last year that I'm going to do this year. It takes a little bit of time. I apologize for that. But I think people need to understand how you design a school calendar and the different things you have to consider when you're designing a school calendar. First of all, by law, you have to include 7 holidays. No more, no less, and you can't choose which holidays you want to celebrate. Right now, according to our state policy, New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Election Day, which is not a holiday, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day are the only holidays that you can have. I get asked all the time, why do we celebrate Martin Luther King Day but not President's Day? It's not our choice. It is something that the legislature passed and assigns to us, so we don't have that option. If we had that option, we'd do President's Day, but we don't. The next part of it, you have to have 2 preparation days for teachers. You have to have a day before school starts, before the kids come, and after the kids leave to close schools. So those are not optional. You have to do those. You have to have 6 days that are a combination of curriculum development days, professional development, professional meetings, and parent-teacher conferences. You have 6 of those days you have to put in your schedule. You have to have faculty senate meetings, and you have to have them in August, in October, in December, in February, in April, and in June, unless your school year ends in May, and you can do it in May. You can't do it any other time. You can't schedule graduation more than 5 days prior to the last day of school. You can put 6 professional learning days in there, which allows you to do training with your teachers. The students are given credit for attending on those days, even though nobody's present. There's 6 of those you can put in, and we use those. You have to have 6 out-of-school environment days. Out-of-school environment days was something that the legislature passed 15 years ago or so in lieu of a teacher pay raise that year. They didn't have the money for a pay raise, so they gave 6 days that if you don't have too many snow days to make up, you can have those days off. So those are out-of-school environment days. We don't have to make up the first 10 snow days. We've had 12 snow days so far this year, so we have 2 days we have to make up, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. But we're allowed to have 5 days that we don't have to make up because we have enough minutes in our regular schedule to make up those days. Then you have 5 what they call snow packet days, which the teachers prepare work for the students that send home in advance of the first 5 snow days. And so those first 10 days you don't have to make up. Any days other than that you do. Now, one thing I was going to mention later on in the board meeting, but I'll touch on it now, is that what do you do after those 10 days are gone? And you used up all your 10 days like we have. Well, by law, the first thing you have to do is use any OS days that have not been used. And right now we have 4 of those. We'll be using 2 of those, 28th and 29th of May. And then after that, then we have to use another day in May and then June 3rd if we have any more snow days. But after those OS days are gone, then by law, you have to take any days that's called out-of-calendar days. The only place out-of-calendar days occur are, we've already passed them up at Christmas and Thanksgiving, the spring break, there's 5 of those, and then you extend the year at the end of June, or after school ends in June. So that's something the board has to decide. After we reach if we have 2 more snow days, we have to make up. Then the board will have to make a decision on whether we take days out of spring break, real popular decision, or we extend school farther into June, another real popular decision. So you'll get to make that call. And I'll have a suggestion at that time, but by the time we get to that point, we will know pretty much where we are with how many days we have to make up. So that's what we have to do. You have to have 180 school days. We had 2 days this year with a state of emergency that Governor Justice called. But as of right today, we have to make up those days. Now, there is something going on in the legislature right now, trying to get a little bill passed to where we wouldn't have to make up those days, but that is not, we're not really close to having that passed yet. But those are the guidelines that you have to follow. So there's a lot goes into trying to fit 180 days in. And people say, well, let's wait until after Labor Day starts, but that still ends at Memorial Day. Well, get your calendar out and figure out 180 days. You can do it, but then you don't have spring breaks, you don't have Christmas breaks, you don't have Thanksgiving breaks, but you can get your 180 days in. I don't think anybody would sign up for that. Our teachers need breaks, our kids need breaks, and your superintendent needs breaks once in a while from all this. So that's how the guidelines are followed. Now, as far as the calendar goes, the first draft I sent out, which put out on comment, I'm going to make a couple changes to that. And you have a copy of that updated draft in front of you. The original calendar started us on a Monday for teachers. I think it was Monday, maybe it was something like the 11th of August. And the kids would have started back a week later on the 18th. Well, I had several people request that we not start school in the middle of the week. If I get one or two comments, I usually just kind of, everybody has an opinion, and I get it. But I saw it several times. I saw it from students, I saw it from parents, I saw it from teachers. I thought, all right, if you're going to ask for input, you need to consider their input. So we are moving those days. We won't start school until a Wednesday for teachers, and the following Wednesday for students. So they'll start off with a shorter week, which probably makes a lot of sense. The other thing that we're going to do is, there wasn't really a lot of pushback on spring break. I told you all this before, but spring break, Easter is early this year. It's like the last of March or the very first day of April, something like that for next school year. And, the weather's not really great for anybody who wants to go to the beach or anything like that. It's still pretty cold. So what we did in the original calendar was just simply put in Good Friday being off so that people would have a long weekend. Then we'd come back for school for a week, and then we would take our spring break in the middle of April when it might be a little bit warmer. And I had, I think, one comment that disagreed with that, but the others said, it sounded fine to them, that the longer in April we could go and get better weather, the better time to have spring break would be. But I changed it a little bit. We're going to make Good Friday still going to be Good Friday off. We're also going to take the Monday following it off, because a lot of people go out of town for Easter for families or whatever, and it's hard for them to get back and get ready to school the next morning. So we're going to have the Friday and the Monday off of Easter break if the board approves this calendar at the next board meeting. But then we come back to school for the rest of that week, which would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then we go into our regular full spring break for the following week. So actually they're getting an extra day out of spring break that way by adding that day, that Monday. So those are really the only changes. We did have to move graduation one day. We had it scheduled for a Wednesday and a Thursday. I think it was 20th and 21st of May. But your calendar, when you submit your calendar, and there's a little button I have to push to see if it meets all the regulations. If it doesn't, it kicks it out. You have to start over again, or you have to make some changes. Well, it kicked it out. So when I moved the graduation day one day closer to Memorial Day and made it the 21st and 22nd instead of the 20th and 21st, it accepted it. So just that one day of giving them an extra day off after Good Friday, that's what kicked it out. So we had to move graduation day to a Thursday and a Friday before Memorial Day instead of a Wednesday and Thursday. That was the only thing we had to do there. Of course, when you add these days, when you start school 2 days later, you got to go to school 2 days longer in May. So we'll still be out in May. It's not going to carry into June. I think this year's kind of an aberration as far as weather goes. We haven't had a winter like this in quite a while where we've had to make up days. But the calendar still would end on May 28th to be the last day for students. So that's what the calendar looks like. The teachers start on the 13th, have trainings. The kids will start on the 20th. Then you got your faculty senate days, you got your holidays in there. Nothing's really changed there. Spring break, or Christmas break is about like it was this year. It goes from December 22nd to January the 4th. The teachers have a day in between the students coming back for second semester. The semester does end at Christmas, like it did this year. I've had nothing but positive comments about the semester ending at Christmas. Just think this year what it would have been if we hadn't ended our semester at Christmas and had to come back for 2 weeks with no school and then trying to get kids in to finish the semester up. So it really worked out well for us this year. But that's what the calendar looks like. And I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody happens to have about the calendar. Yays, nays, or any way you want to go? Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time we'll reconvene in February 3rd meeting. Approval of the agenda.
The only thing I have is a change. Caitlin Clark is supposed to be here to do a report for Dixon County High School when she comes with us, work her in when she gets here. But that's all I have.
Okay. Recognition.
Yeah. Sarah Lee's gonna do this for me.
I am pleased today to be here to recognize Ms. Shiloh Lusk. Come on up. Shiloh has recently earned National Board Certification, which is a national honor. You want to tell a little bit about which area you are certified in?
English and language arts, adult, young adult.
Young adult. And it's a process that's taken you?
It took me, 5 years. I started and then COVID hit, so the last 3 years I've really been working on it because I was working on a lot of other things with my 3 kids. So it's been a little bit of a process.
And she's done a fantastic job. And at the end of this, you submit how many, 4 videos?
There's 4 components. One of them is a test on your content knowledge and classroom management, and the other 3 is all about your classroom, your rapport with your kids, and your classroom management, and small group versus whole group learning, and data analysis.
But it's a very rigorous process.
Very.
Lots of video, lots of reflection, lots of writing. Once you've passed their threshold, then you can become National Board Certified. It still lasts 10 years, right?
It's 5 years now.
5 years now?
Yes.
And then you have to renew.
Mhm.
Bless your heart. But congratulations, Shiloh.
Thank you so much.
They'll come around.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just in her class last week. wasn't I?
Yes, you were.
We've only had a handful of teachers
Yeah.
over
It
the
was. I was
years
happy with that.
be able to achieve this, so I'm thrilled.
Stay right here. I'm pretty much up a little bit. That's gonna take some work.
Speak for yourself.
Okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
You worked hard for this.
Thank you.
Does that include pay raise?
It does include
It
pay
does.
raise. And it's reimbursed, the pay raise that we have is reimbursed from the state. Now, I'm sure the board would want to kick in some more. She'd be
Yeah, I
glad
would
to
be
take
very
it.
happy.
Okay, Madison Waters.
As you all know, for the last year or so, I asked Mrs. Cox if she would work with some of her students to have some paintings done. As you notice in our hallway, how much it's really brightened up our hallways. And so Madison has done this one for us, and so we've asked her to come up. And she wasn't able to come last board meeting, I understand, or a little issue, but she's here with us tonight. We wanted to, she's gonna present this to our board members, and if you guys will come around, we'll get a picture of here with Madison. And we thank you so much. You did a really, really good job.
She knows which suite it needs to hang in.
You what?
Front office.
No, my office.
Yellow.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. What's your parents' name?
Squeeze in a little bit.
Suck that gut in.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, right.
You paint oil or acrylics, Nancy?
See, he's an art guy. Oh, yes. I had an art class for in college. He took a math class. He took. We'll hang that up tomorrow.
You do know there's a lot. We see there's a lot of signs.
Okay, approval of the minutes of the meetings held January 27th, 2025.
I've read those minutes, I found nothing wrong. If there are no other additions or corrections, I move we accept.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the minutes, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Ferguson, seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion unanimous. Superintendent's information updates.
Just a couple real quick things. First of all, last Friday, we had planned on having a trial run for our snow routes, and I know the snow routes are something that people don't think we need to waste our time with, but regardless, we're going to do those. We need to have a day of practice. The kids need to know where they get on, what time the bus will get there, and so forth. And we want to do that in decent weather. And last Friday, we realized, Kelly called me or talked to me that morning. She said, "We need to maybe think about not doing those snow routes because it's going to get really bad," and it did. It got really rainy. We sent the kids home early. We had one bus that had a little bit difficulty getting home. We got them home safe and sound, but we didn't get there any earlier than we needed to, that's for sure. But we want to try to do that again, and I'm looking at the weather to try to find a fairly dry afternoon or day that we can do that morning and afternoon, so we can run those on a regular schedule, just so the kids get used to that. So we are still going to do that. The weather looks good this week as far as not having to worry about any days or called off or delays or anything like that. We'll watch it carefully and make sure we get that practice day in before we actually institute them or implement them with the students. Next thing is it's National School Counseling Week, and Mr. Williams has asked me to just simply remind everybody that that's what this week is, February 3rd to the 7th. School Counseling, Helping Students Thrive. There's a proclamation that I signed earlier today, and it just says, whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential, and whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as their traits relate to career awareness and development, and whereas school counselors help families focus on ways to further the academic, career, and social emotional development of their children, and whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help explore their potential, set realistic goals for themselves, and whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs that help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school, therefore, we do hereby proclaim February 3rd to the 7th, 2025 as National School Counseling Week. And the second thing is that we had a request that we didn't put it on the board agenda, but it's just for informational for the board to know. We have the Greenbrier Valley Theater Educational Touring Initiative is coming to Mount Lookout Elementary School on February the 14th, 2025. It's not a field trip. The kids don't have to go anywhere. They're coming to them. But it's not really an MOU. It's just an agreement that they'll provide one performance and 2 workshops at our venue on February the 14th. That's just between the Greenbrier Valley Theater and Mount Lookout Elementary School. So Julia asked me to announce that. And that's all I have.
Okay, are there any delegations?
No, sir.
Thank you. Action items, discussion with possible action on joining Class A, or Class Action Suit against Meta.
I didn't have anything for that.
I gave
Oh,
them
did
a
you?
copy.
Okay, good.
They have a copy of it.
Kind of discussed it last time.
Yeah, this lawsuit's been going on for quite a while, or the initiation of it has been going on for quite a while. And there are several counties that's already signed in, have to be in this lawsuit. There's nothing we have to do. It's not like the Jewel lawsuit was, where they acted on behalf of the schools, and if they got anything, they divided it up among the counties. And that's kind of where we are right now. I'm sure it'll take some time, but it's basically the reason of it is because social media has been such a disruptive force in education that they filed a class action lawsuit against Meta, and we'll see where that goes from now. I'll keep you informed as Rusty Webb keeps me informed. It's just, this action item is just to allow us to be a formal part of this litigation. At no
So,
expense to the board.
any questions? So do we have a motion to approve action item A?
I make the motion.
Mr. Green makes a motion, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Berry. All in favor? Aye. Motion unanimous. Consent items, finance.
Okay, we don't have very much in finance today since we just had a meeting last week, but there were some payment of current invoices in your packet, if you have any questions about those.
I did have one question, it's on page 7. The scholarships we give out, is that a flow-through from somebody that,
Yes, that was, an estate had given money to Richwood High School to give out scholarships. So they're from Richwood High School, but we have the money here at the board office. So they choose the recipients, and then we send the money directly to the college.
okay, so they, so basically they have their own scholarship committee and approve who gets the scholarship, we just are the conduit
Right.
financially. Okay, thank you.
Why did you ask it? Wondered about that too.
Any other questions, comments? We have a motion to accept consent items, finance, number 1, payment of current invoices.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Ferguson makes a motion, seconded by?
Second.
Second by Mr. Berry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion unanimous. Personnel.
Good evening. We do have one addition, Brian Groves. he employed as a welding instructor at Nicholas County CTE Center. This is in red. It was a late addition because he had to take a welding certification class on Saturday. So we did not know until Saturday that we were going to be able to add his name. And he is going to be starting the 24th.
Got lucky, didn't
Yes, yes, we
we?
did, yes. We were very pleased with that.
Well, he has big shoes to fill. So hopefully,
He was able to meet some of the students on Saturday when they had their Skills USA practice, and Mr. Lemons was there too to assist, so it will be a good transition.
What are they gonna do till the 24th?
They have been working on some book work, and
Yeah, we're trying to give them their OSHA certifications, and just doing some math work and things like that with them. some book work.
they get an embedded math credit, so they've been doing some of that work. And then the OSHA 10, that usually takes a full week to get through all of that. That's the industry safety certification, and they actually get the OSHA 10 card.
Preliminary to practice welding, right?
Be safe,
Okay.
yes. And when they go to job sites, having that OSHA 10 card gives them an advantage because companies would have to provide the training if they didn't have the card. So having the time to get that is very valuable.
Good. Thank you.
there's not any other questions. Do we have a motion to accept the personnel agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Berry makes a motion, seconded by,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Moose. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Reports, SESC, Mr. Ferguson.
Nothing to report this time.
Okay, Bright Horizons, Mr. Green. Okay. 14, items for future agendas, matters of the board.
Those new meetings we talked about, first, that's like first of March.
We'll talk about that in just a minute. Anybody have a matter of the board? If not, future meeting dates, the next meeting date will be, the regular meeting will be Monday, February 24th, here at the board office at 4 o'clock. And then, it's not on here, Ms. Kim,
No, I didn't put them on there yet. I'll put them on next.
Mr. Berry would like to know those dates, just if you
Okay,
want.
I'll give it to you. You want mine now?
Yeah, give them to me.
March 3rd at 4 o'clock. Well, Mrs. Weitzel, will your students' letters, will that meeting start at 5?
Well, it could start, or, I would just have to notify them, but
Have-
we need to send a reminder anyways.
Have you already notified them?
I do that when I give them the letters at the end of the meeting, but we can resend the letter and just change the date.
It's up-
There's a bunch of them.
There's quite a few of them,
Yes, there
4.
are.
Okay, so we'll change that,
Are we gonna have a regular board meeting?
Change to 4.
change it till 4 on the
Okay.
The
3rd.
3rd is just gonna be,
Reviews.
reviews.
A meeting.
So that'll be a special meeting instead of a regular meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
it'll be a special meeting on student reviews,
At what time?
4 o'clock. And then the next one will be Wednesday, the 5th.
Do you want to do it on Wednesday, or do you want to do it on Thursday because of church? Okay, do,
We don't have anybody coming. It's a our directors, Four. Don't have it.
Yep, it's special.
Directors, Thursday better.
Matter either way, guys. Doesn't matter.
By 7. It's Ash Wednesday, that's why I'm saying, like, that's what happened on my calendar that day. So Ash Wednesday service at church at 7, so that's fine.
Well, we'll do it Thursday.
What is it?
We'll do it Thursday. The 6th,
Or is it review?
it's a regular meeting.
Oh, it's a regular meeting.
So. and
Regular
what is-
meeting at 4 o'clock
Okay.
on March 6th.
And the next one, is Monday, the 17th. And that's the one that we recess. It's got our levy rates on it, so we'll recess that meeting and we'll pick that up in April.
March 17th,
Uh-huh.
4 o'clock.
No, March 17th, 4 o'clock.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Then I'll get them all listed on there, the next agenda
Okay, thank you.
to the end.
Okay, so next we have student disciplinary hearings.